Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Thursday, November the 7th, and we are here to look at the new releases that have been published this week. On Thursdays, we look at fantasy and science fiction. There's a lot of them. We'll get to it here real quickly. Quick notes. We do have sprints tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. They'll go for 2.5 hours. Bring your own book, work on a project, or just close your eyes after having a day. Entirely up to you. It is self-care time that is carved out for you. Time, space, and music. Good morning, Cajun. Morning, everyone. Have a couple of days off this week, so get to pop on. Lovely. Enjoy your days. That is fantastic. All right, let's look at fantasy and science fiction. All right. Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. Second in the Secrets of the Nile series. I'm familiar with the first one. I've not read it, but I'm familiar with it. Inez Oliveira traveled across the world to Egypt seeking answers into her parents' recent and mysterious deaths, but all her searching led her down a perilous road filled with heartache, betrayal, and a dangerous magic that pulled her deep into the past. When Tio Ricardo issues an ultimatum about her inheritance, she's left with only one option to consider: marriage to Whitford Hayes. Former British soldier, her uncle's aide-de-camp and one-time nemesis, Whit has his own mysterious reasons for staying in Egypt. With her heart on the line, Inez might have to bind her fate to the one person whose secret plans could ruin her. Till Death Do Us Part by Rose Black. Marriage isn't always sunshine and unicorns. Sometimes it's monsters and necromancy. It's been almost a year since Logan the Bear Thinker hung up his axe and settled down with his sunshiny bard husband Pi. But when Pi disappears, Logan is forced back into a world he thought he'd left behind. Logan quickly discovers that Pi had been blackmailed into stealing a powerful artifact, capable of creating an undead army. With the help of an old adversary and a ghost from his past, Logan sets out to rescue his husband. But the further the quest takes him, the more secrets Logan uncovers. He'll need all his strength to rescue his husband, but can he save their marriage? Excuse me. Early morning. The voice hasn't gotten warmed up yet. This is a pretty cover. The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leung. Tao is an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages with just her trusty mule for company. She only tells small fortunes: whether it will hail next week, which boy the barmaid will kiss, when the cow will calve. She knows from bitter experience that big fortunes come with big consequences. Even if it's a lonely life, it's better than the one she left behind. But a small fortune unexpectedly becomes something more when a semi-reformed thief and an ex-mercenary recruit her into their desperate search for a lost child. Soon they're joined by a baker with a need for adventure, and of course, a slightly magical cat. Tao starts down a new path with companions as big-hearted as her fortunes are small. But as she lowers her walls, the shadows of her past close in, and she'll have to decide whether to risk everything to preserve the family she never thought she could have. This one's an interesting cover. The Improvisers by Nicole Glover. Good morning, Mary. Happy Wednesday. It's Thursday. We're not going backwards. Off to volunteer again at the library today. Aya's Sutures, came out yesterday. All well and you're okay as well. Awesome. It is a pretty cover. You sound a little, yeah, it's lingering. Morning, Mary. Glad he is doing well, and the car too. Good afternoon, Helen. Hello. Welcome, welcome. We're looking at fantasy and science fiction. Velma Fry is many things: a pilot, a former bootlegger, a well seasoned traveler, a jazz pianist, and a wielder of celestial magic. She's also a member of the mystical Rhodes family, as well as an investigator for arcane oddities for a magic rights organization dealing with both simple and complicated cases. And when a pocket watch instigates a magic brawl after one of her flight shows, things become very complicated. In 1930s America, enchanted items are highly valuable, especially in the waning days of the magical prohibition. As Velma digs deeper, she discovers the watch is part of a collection of dangerous artifacts, manipulating people across the country and, in some cases, leading to their deaths. Something about all this is tickling Velma's memories, and the more she discovers, the more these seemingly isolated incidents feel as if they're building to something apocalyptic. Connecting the dots isn't easy, though, and further complicating her work is journalist Dylan Harris. He hounds her steps, and while not actively sabotaging her investigation, he also clearly knows more than he lets on. Whether it's his presence that she finds so vexing or his easygoing charm, there's a mystery she isn't interested in solving. Because someone is out there seeding cursed objects with the intent on wreaking havoc, and Velma will have to use every trick in her toolkit, including some well placed magical improvisation, to win the day. That sounds kind of fun. So far, all of these are sort of on the lighter, fun side of fantasy, science fiction. End of row one, starting row two. Before We Forget Kindness by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Book 5 in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. This is a book in translation. In the fifth book in the sensational, cozy Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, translated from Japanese, the mysterious cafe where customers arrive hoping to travel back in time welcomes 4 new guests. The father who could not allow his daughter to get married, a woman who couldn't give Valentine's Day chocolates to her loved one, a boy who wants to show his smile to his divorced parents, a wife holding a child with no name. They must follow the cafe's strict rules, however, and come back to the present before their coffee goes cold. Another moving and heartwarming tale from this author. Go back to their past and move on their present, finding closure and comfort so they can embark on a beautiful future. Interesting concept. And this is the fifth book if you want to jump into that one. Indeed. This one's a pretty cover too. It was 83 degrees here yesterday. This is November crazy weather. We still need rain desperately. Cajun, I've heard of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, but didn't know it was a series. Seems like it would be an emotional read. Ooh, yeah, you're right. Good point. Let's see. I think, Mary, we're getting up to the 50s today. But I think 60s after that for the next 3 days. Cold in the morning, though. Across the Ages, Timeless Book number 4 by Gabrielle Meyer. Carolyn holds a deep secret. Living in 1727 and 1927 simultaneously, each night she goes to sleep in one life and wakes up in the other. In search of answers to her unique existence, Carolyn stumbles upon a letter from her mother hinting at her own experiences as a time crosser, sending Carolyn on a daring quest to uncover the truth. In 1727, Carolyn disguises herself as a cabin boy and joins a ship sailing for the Bahamas, her mother's last known location, where she crosses paths with a ruthless but handsome pirate and is caught in a web of secrets, deception, and unexpected alliances. In 1927 St. Paul, Minnesota, Carolyn grapples with her other life as the daughter of a renowned preacher. Her 2 older brothers have fallen prey to the corruption rampant during Prohibition, and Carolyn struggles to keep their involvement hidden to save her father's career. As her search for answers about her time crossing leads her to the Dangerous yet exciting world of speakeasies, Carolyn enlists the help of a childhood friend who is now a police officer. But with her family's future at risk and their loyalties tested, Carolyn faces a life-altering decision that could reshape her destiny. What an interesting concept. Kind of frustrating though. Every other day you'd be in the middle of something. Nope. Cajun Mary, I know we are having 80s here too. Oh, AC still running, so much for the electric bill going down in the burr months. Ugh. Good morning, Elena. How you doing? I'm off from work because another client. Oh no! Punched me in the leg yesterday morning. Are you okay? Cajun said to. Oh no, that's horrible. Hope you are okay. Indeed. So I will read this morning and going to Costco with my mom and getting my pizza and a drink. Well, that sounds like a good plan. I like that. You're okay now? Okay. Sending you love. Emily, oh no, Elena, what did you do to get punched? She's a SPED teacher and familiar with aggressive behaviors. And Mary says, hi, Elena, hope you are okay. But hopefully I can go back to work tomorrow. Yeah. Well, enjoy today, though. Collision Course by Michelle Diener. I'm familiar with this author, but I don't think I've read her. This is 6th in the Class 5 series. Rose is looking forward to meeting the Frizone as part of the United Council's outreach mission. Since the Tekren were defeated and the full scope of their crimes were uncovered, the UC has wanted to find the Tekren's victims and extend the hand of friendship. The fact that Rose is close to having her baby is just another element to the adventure of finding the Fizone's planet and seeing if they could be potential allies. Dav Jalan has been captain of the Barist for a few years, but this is the first time he's headed for a planet inhabited by advanced sentients. The Fizone exist, that is indisputable, and every part of this mission is why he became an explorer in the first place. The goal is to find them, form alliances, and make friends. The fact that he's about to become a new father simply adds to his sense of excitement. When Sazo's Class 5 and the Barris enter the Fizone's airspace, what they find is far from the uncomplicated meaning they had envisioned. The Fizone are divided, carrying a grudge, and are sure the Gree are no different from the Tekren they encountered the year before. When they take Rose as a hostage, both Dab and Sazo focus everything they have on finding her, and as the Fizone's actions create more and more danger, ideas of alliances, friendship, and cooperation become less and less important. The only comfort both Dab and Sazo have to draw from is that Rose has been taken by others before, underestimated before, and her abductors have lived to regret it. They are counting on history repeating itself. Getting Away with Murder by Catherine Foxfield. I think this is here because it does have a element of fantasy to it. Walking disaster, Saffron and her perfectionist twin sister Georgia have only one thing in common. They are both obsessed with Battle Royale video game Soul Survivor. While working on a brand new high-tech escape room complex, Saffron poses a question to the resident AI. Which high school stereotype would survive the longest in a real-life version of Soul Survivor? Don't ask these questions. She is convinced a rebel like her would beat a know-it-all like Georgia. Unbeknownst to her, the AI decides to determine the answer to her question by testing it out for real. It invites Saffron and Georgia's gamer friends to a preview of the escape rooms, but then it locks the doors and turns the rooms into a life or death battle to be the last player standing. The rebel, the know-it-all, the princess, the jock, the geek, the weirdo, the star, the artist, and the criminal. Just like in Soul Survivor, only one can survive the night. See. AI. End of that row. God's Reign, a Pathfinder novel by Leanne Merciel. Gods are not meant to die. They're supposed to be immortal, too powerful to be struck down or withered to dust, just like the people of Golarion. It has been more than a century since Erodin, god of humanity, met his mysterious doom, and his death ushered in a new era of uncertain prophecy and turmoil, the Age of Lost Omens. Who gets to name these things? I want that job. Now another god has died, his death broadcast across the skies in a metaphysical projection of his murder reverberating over any world on which he was worshipped. And from his rent corpse falls the god's rain, a torrent of the god's blood and divine essence. Those touched by this rain are blessed, some would say cursed, with a god spark that imbues upon them mythic power. Four veteran adventurers, the barbarian Amiri, the wizard Ezrin, the cleric Kira, and her wife, the elven rogue Marisiel, witness this calamity and with their newfound mythic power find themselves on the trail of fell forces looking to capitalize on the chaos. Using their unique skills, nascent god sparks, and even the first-hand blessings of one of Galarion's most potent deities, they must race against time and fate to prevent the greatest threat to Galarion and beyond from escaping into impenetrable prison. Next, by Emily McIntyre, part of the Never After series, 6 books. Vanessa Anderson has never been good. She wasn't good enough for her parents, and she isn't good enough for the gangster uncle who took her in after they died, but she's cunning, beautiful, dutiful to her uncle's demands, and she doesn't have time for a moral compass anyway. When her runaway cousin returns to their coastal southern town, she brings a man with her, and Vanessa soon realizes he's the only one who's ever seen her for her. There's just one problem. She can never have him. Enzo Loverboy Marino is a wealthy businessman by day and prince of the underworld by night. Underboss to a notorious mafia syndicate, he answers to no one except his father, the strongest don in the Northeast. When he's tasked with marriage, put it on your checklist, Enzo doesn't think twice until he meets his fiance's cousin. Vanessa is everything he ever knew he wanted, bewitching him with her sultry voice and supple curves. But Enzo learned long ago that for a man like him, life is better without the things you want. When plans unravel and temptation sings its siren song, they'll both have to choose what's more important, duty to their families or forbidden love that's never supposed to be. It looks like a fantasy. Reads like a romance. Usually like romantasy feels more fantasy than romance, but that just wasn't giving that kind of vibe, but it's there. Okay. Donuts. Yeah, exactly. The Breakfast Club meets AI. I think that's exactly what they were thinking. Interstellar Mega Chef, first in the Flavor Hacker series by Lavanya Lakshminarayan. Yep, Lakshminarayan Smith. Stepping off a long-haul star freighter from Earth, Saras Kaveri has one bag of clothes, her little flying robot Keely, and an invitation to compete in the galaxy's most watched, most prestigious cooking show. Interstellar Mega Chef is the showcase of the planet Primus's austere, carefully synthesized cuisine. Until now, no one from Earth, where they're so incredibly primitive they still cook with fire, has ever graced its flow metal cook stations before or smiled awkwardly for its buzzing drone cams. Corporate prodigy Serenity Co., inventor of the smash hit sim Soundspace, has just got messily drunk at a floating bar, narrowly escaped an angry mob, and been put on 2 weeks mandatory leave to rest and get her work-life balance back. Perfect time to start a new project. And she just got the idea, a sim for food. Now she just needs someone to teach her how to cook. A chance meeting in the back of a flying cab has Saris and Serenity Co. working together on a new technology that could change the future of food and both their lives forever. Interesting concept. And there's a giant donut on the cover. Revenant X, Book 2 in the Red Space series. by David Wellington. Fear the dark. The crew of the Artemis, led by Firewatch agent Alexandra Petrova, have survived the furious onslaught of the Basilisk and broken through the space blockade around Paradise 1. Now they can pursue their original mission and investigate why Earth's first deep space colony has fallen silent. Oh, I think I read Paradise 1. The answer seems obvious. The site is deserted, or so they think. Some of the colonists remain, but they're no longer human. Petrova and her crew now face a desperate struggle to survive as they attempt to uncover the mystery of what has befallen the colony. If they fail, the darkness that has fallen over Paradise 1 will consume them. It is space horror. End of that row. I don't like space horror. Hey, a Star Trek book. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Asylum by Una McCormick. When Una Chin Riley and Christopher Pike meet at Starfleet Academy after one of his lectures, they immediately become friends. A stellar student, Una is the poster girl of her class, and Pike is determined to become a Starfleet captain with his own ship, rhetorically assembling his dream crew. As their friendship evolves, Pike also suspects Una is involved with the Uxana, a Chionian culture minority who are seeking asylum in Federation space, leading to more questions than answers. 25 years later, Una and Pike are working together on the USS Enterprise to settle a Chionian trade agreement when a pro-Uxana saboteur launches a terrorist attack. When the suspect is taken into custody for interrogation and is discovered to have a history with Una, her past associations resurface, threatening to expose a secret she's been harboring all these years. Stranger Skies by Pascal Lascelles, second in the Drowned Gods trilogy. I like that cover, actually. Opening locked doors has a price, even for those who hold a key. After going through the door that called them both in dreams, Emery and Romy find themselves in the Witchwood, the same verdant world written of in Song of the Drowned Gods, albeit a twisted, rotting version of it. A sinister force has awoken with their arrival, intent on destruction as it spills across realms, and now Emery and Romy must stop it before it reaches their own shores. Meanwhile, Baz and Kai are desperate to follow their friends through the door to other worlds, but a mishap pulls them back in time instead, where they come face to face with Cornus Clover himself, famed author of Song of the Drowned Gods. Stuck together in the past, they must navigate a very different Aldrin as they unravel the school's darkest secrets. Across time and worlds, Emery, Romy, Baz, and Kai find their fates eerily interwoven with the heroes from Clover's book. But when stories can't be trusted, friendships are put to the test, and deadly enemies are not always as they seem, they must decide who gets to be a hero and who is desperate enough to see themselves become a villain. Interesting. And the one we can't get to today is The Sum of All Things by Seb Dubinsky. All right, that is it. Again, I do have sprints tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. 2.5 hours worth. Cajun says, hope everyone has a good day and hope to see you tonight. Indeed. I'll probably be reading. I just got notified of 3 library holds. Same library. What's up with that? So I'll have to see if I'm in the mood for those because I'm reading other things. Hope you guys have a good Thursday. Read good books. Please take care of yourselves because you're in my heart. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day and God bless.